Good morning, guys. It's Natasha. Please, before you continue watching this video, subscribe to this video. You guys aren't doing that. You guys are watching and only watching a couple minutes. I think maybe I'm rambling too much. I don't know. But I waited a couple days to do this second video of the grieving process. If you haven't watched the first part of this video, I'm doing a 3-part on the 5 steps to grieving of having MS. If you haven't watched the first video, I'll link it up here. This part is the next 2 steps, which is bargaining and depression. You probably aren't through the first 2 steps. If you are, then this is the perfect video for you. I am doing this video in the morning. I don't know about you, but I have way more energy in the morning than in the afternoon. Let me know in the comments if you have more energy in the morning or in the afternoon. Just wondering. Okay, so bargaining and depression. Bargaining, I'm pretty sure you probably know what that is. Bargaining would probably be something you may not know that you're doing. It's something you probably do when you don't really realize that you're doing it. You're probably doing it when you're in the shower or in the car or waiting for a doctor's appointment. You're doing it in your head. You're probably you're talking to God or whoever you believe in. You're just thinking in your head. I promise if I go to church more, if I go to church more, will you take this away? I wonder if my mom would have done this, I wouldn't have MS. I wonder if you had a twin, I wonder if my twin was supposed to get this and not me. I mean, things that you would never tell somebody else that you're thinking of. I wonder if I wouldn't have done this when I was a teenager. Because if you were diagnosed older, I wonder if I would have done this if I wouldn't have done this when I was in elementary school or in middle school, maybe I wouldn't have been diagnosed. Or, I mean, all of these just off the wall, silly, crazy things. Promises to, anybody, just random things that you would be saying. I mean, I've done it, I don't know how many times, millions of times. Just crazy things that you would be saying. I don't know. I still do it sometimes. None of them are true, by the way. It's nothing that you could have done or said or wouldn't have done or your mother wouldn't have done or anybody. It's not any of those things. But we still do it, and it's just, especially on a really bad day or a miserable week, or I don't know, guys, when we're feeling awful really is when we don't realize that we're doing it as bad as we do. But that's bargaining. You can look up the definition. That's the way that I took it. I didn't really know that that's what it was called, was bargaining, but I did it for many years. Even before I was actually diagnosed with MS, they had tried diagnosing me with lupus because my mom had lupus. Even before I was diagnosed with lupus, there was years where I just felt awful. The whole right side of my body was completely numb and cold sensitive. I couldn't even put my hand in a cooler of ice. For several years, most of my children's lives, they played competitive baseball. So we chucked coolers around all the time. And so I would have to try to put my hand in the cooler to get my kids' lunches or ice packs or water, and doing that was completely awful, like excruciating. So, I mean, I used to do stuff like that all the time, even that because it was so painful. Um, but yeah, I had no idea that that was called bargaining, because I didn't even know that that was a step in the 5 steps of grieving at that time. But yes, that is part of the 5 steps. So that's bargaining. And then depression. Um, Depression is part of MS. So a lot of people had depression before they were even actually diagnosed with MS. And so they had probably had it for many years prior to the diagnosis. But even if you were not diagnosed with depression before having MS, I would say, I don't know what the percentages are. I'm not a therapist or doctor. This is just my opinion, because um, I've had it, MS, since 2007. I've read a lot of the forums, and this is talked about a lot. If you have MS, there is a very good chance that you have or will be depressed, because you are constantly going through things with MS. You're up one day trying to feel good. I don't think that you're ever feeling fantastic ever, with MS. You try to tell yourself you're feeling really great. Um, I think that's something that I would say that a lot of people with MS just lie about to make other people happy. Or, yeah. But depression is something that we all probably struggle with, and we can definitely get down a rabbit hole, per se, with depression, and it's something really difficult to get out of, especially when you are, it's just one thing after another. And what I mean by that is you you you're already in pain, and then you have a relapse. So then now you are on a Solumedrol 5 or 7 day, and then you get off of that, and then you're numb again, or you can no longer feel something in your leg. Or me, for instance, I'm always in pain, and then I find out that I start having issues with my vision, and I cannot no longer drive at night, and then it starts happening during the day. And so now I can only really drive at a certain time during the day. And then I start having issues with my bladder. So that's what I'm saying. It's just one thing after another. And then you're like, where the heck does it end? And sometimes I don't think people realize how much of an effect that can have on one person. And I know, and I keep saying to myself sometimes, that he never puts more on you than you can handle. But then I'm like, my back is breaking. Because it just gets to be a lot sometimes. And you try really hard to be the happy-go-lucky person that everybody wants you to be. And you don't want people asking you what's wrong, because, again, you don't want to try to explain yourself, because I don't like people gushing over me and asking me what they can do and stuff, because I don't like asking for help. But that's where you can get into like a whole depression thing, and you don't know how to get out of it sometimes. And that gets really difficult. And I'm sure that people have gotten into that. Let me know in the comments if you've gotten there, have been there before. And it's super easy to get to that point when you keep going through things one after another. And it doesn't really even have to be MS related. Part can be MS related, and then it can just be life, because everybody other than MS can have other life stuff happening to them, and it just can pile on. I understand. It's difficult. Life can be difficult even for regular people that don't have MS, and depression can be hard for them in general, and then pile MS on top of it. And so I get that. But those are the two steps of the next two steps through the grieving process. And in my video that I just did, which is talking about setting goals, and also I consider MS to be a bully, and that I'm writing a book with MS, and an analogy with a schoolyard bully. And I had recommended that in setting goals and maybe using a journal. And so I also recommend, I mean, that's just me, guys, going through this journey as far as the 5 steps, maybe journaling your feelings and what you're going through. Maybe a journal would not be bad for this process. I know that there's a lot of people that also have fibromyalgia or arthritis in your hands. I have a hard time writing a lot or using the remote or whatever, so it may be difficult for you, but maybe you can type it out on your computer or some other way. But it may be good for you to write your thoughts down somewhere while you're going through this process, and see how that works for you. I just thought maybe that would help. So those are my 2 thoughts on bargaining and depression. If you have any questions or want to chat about anything that I've talked about today, leave it in the comments below. Hopefully you'll do that. Nobody's been really doing that. I have one person that's done that. Her name's Amanda. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great day. It's Friday. I'll probably put this out on Saturday because I'm already dropping a video today. Please go watch that and subscribe or like it. And remember, you are definitely worth it, I promise. And it can only get better. And he put you here for a reason, guys. And just remember that. It may not be clear sometimes, but I promise you he did. And I hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you later.